All right, well, hello, everyone. Welcome. I am very excited to see you all here. We are having people, of course, trickle in. We did open it up at 6:30 instead of 6:45. So yes, people are very excited to meet all of the candidates. First, of course, I'll say that we definitely have a lot of people very concerned about, quite frankly, Asian American discrimination and hate crimes, especially with what happened recently. So, as you kind of go through things, let's make sure that we keep everything we say to being anti-racist, anti-sexist, because this was a hate crime against not only Asian Americans, but against women. And of course, the fact that the police officer immediately blamed, a sex addiction and a bad day. Yeah. And getting back to my gun violence prevention roots, disarm hate. He was able to buy the gun within just a few hours of the shooting. So all of these things are, of course, very much tied together. But yeah, I'm really excited that you all are here, and for all of our membership to meet you. We are recording this session, and that way we can actually post it to YouTube and share it on Facebook for others to be able to actually hear you as well. And then I will turn this over to Laura, who is our candidate co-chair.
Hi, thanks everybody for joining us today. We appreciate you being here for the next half hour, and then if you choose to stay during the regular part of the meeting when there's people are coming in and out, you can also drop your information in the chat and say hello there. But what we're doing is we're going to save everybody's information and send it out to our membership so that they know that you guys were interested in being in touch with Democrats, and we're encouraging our membership to get in touch with candidates in their community and volunteer and donate, and of course vote. So we have a slide. We have a slide with the local election voting dates, so people understand. Maybe they just moved here and they don't know that they're nonpartisan and there's no primary, or they've never been in a local election before. So we're saving all that information for them, and especially we're going to say it again later, but if any of you all end up in a runoff June 5th, people don't know about those. I even had a hard time finding out official information on June 5th runoffs. It's not out there on a kind of a global scale, so not even League of Women Voters or anything. So please contact us at candidates@wilddems.org, or just through our email form on the website, and let us know you're in a runoff, and we'll try to encourage people to vote and get turnout out for runoffs. I'm really worried about that because I live in Plano, and I know we're gonna have runoffs. Is that all you wanted, Sarah?
I think that's perfect. And then I want to have the candidates kind of just introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll just kind of, again, have the mixer, but that way people know which of you are candidates. And I see several of you, of course, that I know, but I know not everyone does. Just like Laura said, a lot of times these information on local races are really hard to find. We don't exactly make it easy here in Texas to find out who your local elected officials are and how to vote. So yes. Nancy, thank you. Yeah, for already sharing in the chat. Let's start with you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Oh, you guys are so sweet to invite us to this. And, this is a really strange year for campaigning because we don't, like before forums, you can have mixers, or when you go, you can go places and see each other. So this is so very important. And I'm so thankful for Women Organizing Women Democrats to host this. So thank you. I am Nancy Humphrey. I am place 3 for 11 years already serving Plano ISD Board of Trustees. And I want to continue to serve my community. I have tons of experience. I know how to go down to Austin and give us a voice here, or give us a voice down in Austin, I should say. And I'm a retired CPA, so I know a thing or two about numbers. And I just hope that you guys will come out and vote on May 1st. early voting begins April 19th. And I really encourage your support. And my website is, or I put my website in the chat, nancyhumphrey.org. So thank you so much for having me tonight. This is really a pleasure.
I'm so glad you're able to come. Thank you. All right, let me see here. I have, all right. Maya, are you here? We can start with, we can go to the Dallas area real quick and kind of bounce back and forth. Maya, are you here? Oh, no, not yet. All right, let me highlight her so we can come back. Awesome. All right, Eva, are you here? Okay, no worries. We can come back to you.
Is it Elva?
I'm so sorry. It might be Elva. I'm my
Elva.
bad. Let me
That's
fix that,
okay.
because when I
I
send the
heard it
information
all.
out, I want it to be accurate.
Thank you guys for having me. My name is Elva Curl. I'm running for Dallas City Council District 12. I'm a first-time candidate, so I'm kind of, trying my best, going out block walking, which I actually enjoy doing that, so that's a good thing. I was recently endorsed by the Stonewall Democrats, which was my first ever endorsement, so I was so excited about that. I had a lot of fun talking to them. And so, yeah, I put my information in the chat, and thanks so much for.
Awesome. Well, thank you for running. Yeah, it's not easy to run for office, and like Nancy said, there's a lot of like in between things that go with it, like signs being stolen and dirty things being said about you. So I really appreciate literally every single one of you running. It takes a lot. So thank you. All right, let me bounce to Tarrant count. Nope, he's not coming until 7. We will skip back to Colin. All right, Lauren, I saw you on here.
Yay. Hi, I'm Lauren Doherty. I'm on the Allen City Council now, and I'm running for re-election for my second term for place 3. I did put my information, but everything for me is Lauren for Allen. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My website is laurenforallen.com. I will likely go to a runoff because there are 5 candidates in my race, but with your help, I can maybe win outright in the general. So go to my website and help me block walk and phone bank and get the voters out, because this is a turnout race. These municipal elections are really just about turnout. It's about who you get to the polls. Yeah, reach out to me, join my campaign, and I hope I earn your vote. Thanks.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point actually about local races, because this is where your vote counts the most. Literally every vote counts. So go vote, bring 3 friends to vote, tell 5 other friends to vote. Yes. All right, let me see.
Yeah, that's right. I won by 44 votes.
Yes.
I won by 44 votes in my first election. So your vote really counts. Some people, they win these races by 1 vote. So please make sure everyone you know votes.
True story. All right, let me see here. Wait, do we have Maya? I'm trying to kind of bounce around some of the areas because we actually have a lot of representation from local counties. Don't see you, but when she pops up, if you want to go ahead and message me. Okay, let's go to back to ISD. So Jerry Chambers was not able to be here tonight, but our lovely former president, Madam former President Debbie O'Reilly, will be speaking on her behalf. Did I lose you, Debbie?
I'm really proud. There we go. I got it. Yeah, I know how to work Zoom. I'm really, really proud to support Jerry Chambers. She's running for Plano ISD Board of Trustees in place 6. She is the vice president of the board. She serves as the board liaison to the Plano Chamber of Commerce and also represents Plano ISD on the Texas Association of School Board Legislative Grassroots Committee. In 2019, Local Profile named Jerry Collin County Woman of the Year. And in 2020, she was recognized as the Plano Citizen of the Year through the Plano Chamber of Commerce. She was a math teacher in Plano ISD at the elementary and middle school levels, and also taught medically challenged students through the district's homebound program, and economically disadvantaged students as a Title I math teacher. She's also a band mom whose 2 kids graduated through Plano ISD. So most everybody knows Jerry. She's very well known in the community, and could not be prouder to support her. I'll put her information in the chat for y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, she is definitely a really vital advocate for the community. And then skipping back to Dallas, Paul, I saw you on here. Paul Ridley.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. Thank you so much for hosting this candidate. I am running for Dallas City Council, District 14, which comprises downtown, uptown, and Old East Dallas. That is a district that I am quite familiar with, having lived in it for 27 years, and also having served on 2 separate city commissions, the Landmark Commission and the Plan Commission, for a total of 12 years, representing this district. So although I am a first-time candidate for City Council, I am not a novice when it comes to knowing what goes on at City Hall and how to get things done in my district. One of my biggest credentials, though, is the fact that I'm married to Joan Ridley, one of your members. So our election is on May the 1st, and early voting starts on April 19th. I have already received an endorsement from Stonewall Democrats, and I would very much appreciate the vote of anyone listening who is in District 14, or if you don't live in District 14, talk about me to your friends. My information is in the chat room, and my website, which is included there, is ridleyfordallas.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And yes, that is credentials, being married to a member. I love it. All right. Let me see here. It's Justin here. It's not yet. Okay. Oh, Angela, please correct me.
Angelia?
Angelia, thank you. You may.
Yes, Angelia, can you hear me
I
okay?
apologize.
You're going in and out. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm Angelia. I'm running for Frisco City Council Place 3, and I'm a long-term Frisco resident. I've been in Frisco for 17 years, and I am an executive in corporate America. I've been with companies such as Walt Disney World, PepsiCo, and Frito-Lay as an executive vice president, chief human resources officer. I have a master's degree in human resources management, and I'm currently a small business owner in Frisco. I run a consulting firm that focuses on coaching executives in the workplace, and it has a specific track for coaching women in the workplace. So I'm really excited to be here and talk to the plethora of women that we have here today. I have also co-founded with my husband a community church in downtown Frisco that has been in existence for 13 years. And additionally, I'm the co-founder of an 11-year-old scholarship foundation that we have here in Frisco that has awarded almost $60,000 to Frisco ISD seniors, about 50 of them to be specific. I also sit on the board of Hope's Door New Beginnings, which focuses on supporting victims of domestic abuse. And I'm also the chapter sponsor of Frisco Girl Up, which focuses on empowering young girls ages 14 to 18. So if you start to see a trend here, my life is dedicated to empowering incredible women. And I also serve as the campaign treasurer for Mayor Jeff Cheney in his last re-election. So I'm excited to be here. I'll put my information in the chat. My website is Angelia for Frisco, F-O-R, Frisco.com. And if you're in Frisco, please come out and we need your vote. We don't get a lot of participation in municipal elections in Frisco, about 5 to 7%. So we really need everyone to come out and make your voice count by voting in early voting, April 19th through the 27th. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, I shut down some things, so hopefully I am less unstable in my internet connection. I might have had just a few things open. All right, awesome. Okay, it looks like, all right, a couple of the Dallas ones aren't here yet, so we will skip back to Colin. And Philip, are you here? Yes, Philip, you're here. You want to introduce yourself?
Hey, good evening. Yes, absolutely. My name is Philip Brewer, and I'm running for Allen City Council Place 5. First time candidate, so I'm learning a ton as I go. But excited to be here, excited to run. I've spent the last 20 years in the banking industry, financial services industry. It's been very involved within the community from a leadership or philanthropic standpoint, from board service. Currently involved with the Allen Independent School District District Improvement Planning Committee. I sit on the Allen ISD Diversity Team, Collin College Banking and Finance Advisory Council, the Allen Chamber of Commerce. I sit on their Diversity and Inclusion Committee. So very active within the community here in Allen, as well in the county. And kind of like Angelina said, if you can't tell, some of my passion is really around diversity and inclusion, and something that I feel very strongly about. And as a council member, want to ensure that Allen is an inclusive and welcoming and safe city for all of our residents. So if you're in Allen, vote for Philip for Place 5.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. And actually, while we are in Allen, it looks like Dwight.
Yeah, let's
There you are. I was
stay in
gonna sound
Allen
like I
for a
thought I saw you.
Yeah, I'm Dwight Burns, and I'm also running for a seat in Allen in Place 1. So this is my first time running for a city council seat, but it's not my first time of the rodeo with city government. I'm a public policy nerd and a public finance nerd. I was trained at the OBJ school, the same school that Stacey Abrams was from, and I cut my teeth in city politics in Austin. I was the chief aide, full-time aide and policy advisor to an Austin council member, which means I was basically a deputy council member. And I thought I knew what I was doing, right? I know all about constituency services and politics and working with city managers, but as far as running for office, oh my God. So my ex-council member boss is following me on social media, and he called me up just laughing at me. It's like, yeah, you all right, Dwight? How you doing? And my life has been focused on good city governance and family-friendly neighborhoods my whole life. Right now, I'm the treasurer for Dallas Area Rapid Transit. So I actually run the investments and debt management and grant administration for the agency. And all throughout my career, I've either worked for cities or with cities as an investment banker for cities, as a municipal bond analyst for cities. I worked for Moody's for several years, issuing credit ratings to cities. I know cities. And so I've been civically active in Allen for 20 years. And finally, I'm like, okay, I'm running out of excuses, but the kids are grown. So I want to give back. And it's just a wonderful place to live. Yeah. And just like Lauren and Philip, we just want to serve. So
I love that.
My information. And one quick thing. I knew I was going to talk to Democratic women. So I had to dig in my memory book and show y'all something. Back in 1984, when I was a teenager, my granddaddy was the delegate to the state Democratic Convention. And I still have his delegate pass from way back then. And this is an important point for Democratic women. On the back, he got Ann Richards.
Nice.
Got her signature on the back of that. So I've been keeping this all these years.
That is really cool. No, yeah, when I was in Austin for lobbying day with Moms Demand Action, my group took a picture under the Ann Richards portrait. It was awesome.
Fantastic.
Anyway, I see a lot of people have popped in. So just to kind of let you know what's going on right now, we're having our candidate mixer. This is kind of what the candidates are doing. They're introducing themselves. They're letting us know where members can find their candidate information as well as volunteer information. and talking about why it's so important to get to the polls. So here we go, I'll do that so y'all can actually see the candidates. Awesome. All right, so let us, speaking of Moms Demand Action, Helen, are you still here? Oh yeah, Helen is an awesome former volunteer leader. Well, I don't know, she might actually still be very involved in Moms Demand Action, but she has helped us lobby with Van Taylor, which was so fun. But yes, Helen, introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, sorry, this is embarrassing because can you hear me?
Yeah.
I had like just popped a very loud chip into my mouth right when you, so maybe Sarah, you could like list 3 names at a time so people have a little bit of,
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, yes, I know Sarah from Moms Demand Action. I'm also a brand new Democratic Party precinct chair. I was recruited to run by the Democratic Party of the county. I am running for Collin College Board of Trustees, place 7. I don't think the other 2 candidates are here, but there's 3 of us running for 3 different places, and we're all trying to unseat incumbents. And I am a community college economics professor, and I used to teach at Collin College, and I can tell you that across these last several years, it's just been a really devastating change at that school. The college is run by hard right conservatives who never took COVID seriously. They just fired 3 professors. They're just, they don't care about free speech rights. It's a real mess. So there was just a good article in KERA and a podcast about it. I'll link to that. But there's also a link to the Dallas Morning News article about it on my website, which I put in earlier. But anyway, so me, Misty Irby, and Jacoby Stewart, I'm not sure that they're here. I didn't see them earlier. So please vote for us. And remember that this is county-wide. So please tell all of your friends in the whole county to vote for this. Thank you.
Awesome. No, yeah, thank you. And then, yeah, put that information in the chat because that is very, very important. And yeah, I love the idea of calling 3 at once. So yes, so we'll do Mary Harris, Elisa Klein, and then Dana. Yeah, I think that's perfect. All right, we good? Okay.
All right, so I'm next.
Yeah.
All right, so my name is Mary. Only woman that's running in Wiley City Council. And so if I do not win, not only will we have a lack of diversity because there were, no shade against the white guys, but there will only be white men on council. Wow. Only, not a woman, not anybody else. And Wiley is an almost 50% minority community with no representation. I always like to take my spotlight and just highlight Collin County. If you look at the slate of candidates, this is a pivotal moment. And we need your help, everybody. And my pledge to everyone that I talk to, whether you get behind me or you get behind somebody else, we need you to give us 1 hour. 1 hour to phone bank, 1 hour to block walk. The odds are not necessarily in our favor, but we are fighting hard. If you see everything that's going on, especially in the Black community in Collin County, I'm tired. And together we make a movement. And we can make a statement in Collin County, but we need your help. Not just me, but Allen and McKinney and Allen and Plano, every city that's in Collin County, because when you look at the slate of candidates, and I always have to give my props to everybody running for the Board of Trustees in Collin, they say, don't put us against each other, put us together. And when you see that list of candidates, it's an Asian woman, a Black woman, and a Black man that's running. Collin County is too diverse, not have any representation, and it's BS. And so we need your help, and we need at least 1 hour. Phone bank, block walls, help us, because we can move the needle. And if you are a Democrat and you want to turn Texas blue, if you want to win big, you have to win small, and we need your help. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Randy. Yes, so important.
Hey guys, my name's Elisa Klein. I think I was next.
Yes, you were. Thank you.
Okay, good. And I'm running for Plano City Council Place 8. I'm not originally from Plano. I was actually born in El Salvador, so I have that, unique experience of being an immigrant. But we put roots down here pretty fast. I'd like to think that my family is really a stellar example of the American dream. My father was recruited here as an engineer working for Texas Instruments, and he retired from there. So, my sisters and I all graduated from Plano East. We're proud Panthers. I went off to college, went to Texas Tech. I got my master's in public affairs and administration because I really liked local government. I went on to work for 2 different cities. So I have that, insider's look and experience. When I got back to this community after I graduated from college, I was lucky enough to land a job for McAfee. They had actually just relocated from California. So that was my first job out of school. And it was amazing because it was in my community. It was coming back home. I actually lived with my parents because I hadn't found somewhere to live yet. So, once I started putting my roots down here, I really enjoyed being here. My husband and I got married and we have 2 kids. So I have kids in public school. Ever since my kids entered school, I became a big advocate of education. And I've gone down and lobbied with the PTA on behalf of the PTA for public education. That is a big passion of mine. I love Plano. I love the life that we live here. I've seen it through different phases of life. I want it to continue to be an excellent place to live. And so that's why I decided to run. I was sick and tired of sitting back and watching people make decisions and when they have no clue what the regular person is going through. So, I'm here to represent all voices. I believe in inclusivity. Like I said, my life is pretty much the American dream, and I want to continue that opportunity for others as well. I'm glad to be here. I've met several of you on the campaign trail. Some of you have finally met in real life because we've just been Zooming. So it's amazing. But just like Mary said, some of us are teaming up. So if you come out to one of my block walks, you might see Steve Levine or you might see Helen, and we grab each other's pamphlets and we walk and we go. So we're spreading each other's messages. I make sure to have the school board and the Collin College board pamphlets with me because this is a message that I'm sending out, not just on behalf of myself, but on behalf of all of us. So any way that I can help other candidates, I try to do that as well. So like I said, if you come out to one of my block walks and if you want to come out and help me, I'm going to be helping a whole bunch of other people with me too. So I'd love for you to join me. My information is elisaplano.com. And if you can't get on block walk and if you can't call, go like our social media. If you like it, if you comment on it, if you forward it, if you push it out, it makes that algorithm and that message just perpetuate and it just gets it out there. So if that's the one thing I ask, you can get on social media and just push our message out there. But thank you guys. One last thing I wanted to mention is I'm currently running a fundraiser that every dollar that you donate, a generous donor is going to match that. And so your $10 could be $20. So keep that in mind. I'm running that through March 22nd. And again, my name's Elisa Klein for Plano City Council. Thanks.
No, I love that. That's such a great message because just like Helen mentioned, just like a couple other people have mentioned, like we're all in this together, and the more that we can actually uplift and amplify each other's message, the better. And sorry, go ahead, Dana.
No, that's okay. That was an important reinforcement there. So I'm Dana Osherwitz. I'm running for Plano ISD Place 2. I'm also a first-time candidate. I'm a professor and have been for almost 20 years. And before that, I taught middle school and high school in Austin and San Antonio. I'm entirely the product of public education. All my degrees are from UT San Antonio undergraduate and UT Austin for graduate work. And so I'm really a strong advocate for public education. It's a great equalizer. I'm first gen college graduate, so I absolutely know what the power of good education can do. And I'm running against a very right-wing incumbent who is very well organized and very well funded. And I'm hoping to take her seat on the board to promote equity. I think we have pretty good evidence that there are equity issues in Plano ISD that need addressing, and also to push them to really look at the aggression issues that they're having in the school. I was hearing about that from parents even before this issue with Sumerian came to light. So at any rate, I'll just echo what everyone else has said. We could really use your collective support and help. And at least I need to come block walk with you sometime.
That would be
Saturday, 11 o'clock.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna email you about it.
No, I love that because yeah, whether you've got 5 minutes, 5 hours, or like a whole week, like one candidate or a group of candidates could use your help. I love that. Thank you. All right, next group of 3 will be Lauren Tyra, David Smith, and Julie Homer. Lauren, take it away.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. And I'm super excited to be here to talk to you guys today. I'm Lauren Tyra. I'm running for place 1 on the PISD school board. Both my husband and I are Plano ISD K through 12 educated. And I am 2 generations from being born on a farm in rural Iowa and going to a 1-room country schoolhouse 1st through 8th grade. And now I have a doctorate, and that's amazing. That is the power of public education, not only for my grandfather's generation, my father's generation, but my generation. And like Dana, I'm also not only K through 12 Plano ISD educated, but my undergrad is University of North Texas, and my PhD is from UT Southwestern Medical Center. So K through 12 DFW Plano schools. I'm a scientist. And so while I don't have the background in education necessarily that a lot of the school board candidates have, I have this really unique perspective where I work in venture capital now, and we fund healthcare and life science companies. And I see the talent needs that these companies have. I understand walking the career path, and I see the talent needs that companies developing technology of the future have. And at a time where companies need more and more STEM talent, both for STEM jobs and non-STEM careers, I understand that landscape and that dynamic, and I want to help our students be successful within that dynamic. While at UT Southwestern, I was actually very heavily involved in several initiatives, including organizing a women's mentoring series on campus for students and postdocs for several years, as well as being the lone graduate student member of the mostly faculty Women in Science and Medicine Committee that worked for advancement of women's careers and women's training from the trainee level at UT Southwestern all the way to the department chair level at UT Southwestern. So I'm very well versed in understanding training needs and advancement needs, particularly for women. So also a first-time candidate, also running against someone who is a right-wing candidate who has expressed pro-voucher views. And I am absolutely an advocate for public education and believe we need to keep our public money in our public schools, and we need to put our faith in Plano public schools. So also a Plano ISD parent, and excited to be here and say hi to everyone today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren.
And good evening. I'm David Smith. I seek to return to Plano City Council, Place 7. My campaign theme is a council member for all Plano, and that includes all of you all who I've been proud to be associated with since the founding of the organization. My primary mission is to get the rest of my colleagues to represent all Plano citizens and stakeholders and start to work together to address our issues as opposed to being adversaries. We've got a lot of work ahead addressing systemic racism, addressing the pandemic, addressing the housing issues in the city, and we all need to start working together on this. I'll later put information in the chat. So if you're not familiar with my platform, etc., you can see that, and I'll repeat a message in my remaining time. The voting starts about 1 month from today. So if you have not started block walking, phone calling, texting, you need to start right away. Please pick your favorite candidate or group of candidates and get to work. if all of us work on this, the dark forces will have a small share of the electorate, and we can do some good things moving forward.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's, yeah, thanks, David.
Sorry, Julie.
My name's Julie Holmer. It's okay. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
I have a dog outside my window with a squeaky toy, so hopefully you're not hearing that as well. But my name's Julie Holmer, and I'm running for City Council Place 7. We do have a crowded race. There's 5 candidates in it, so there's a good chance it will go to a runoff. I've lived in Plano since 1981. My family moved here from overseas when my dad accepted a job with ARCO. My parents are US citizens, but were working abroad. And so I'm also a product of Plano schools. I graduated, I was a Sigler Roadrunner, a Wilson Ram, a Vines Viking, and then finally a Plano Wildcat. I left and went off to school in Nacogdoches, where I got a bachelor's of social work, which I only used for a living for about a year, and then I ended up in human resources. But I've continued to use my social work skills in volunteer opportunities anyway. My husband and I have a software consulting business that we started about 18 years ago. We've been really lucky in that we've been able to get all of our business through referrals, and so we haven't had to spend money on marketing. So 18 years ago, we decided to have an annual fundraiser where we would invite all of our colleagues and clients and our neighbors so that they wouldn't call the police if the music got too loud. And so it was a benefit that it was a big crawfish boil that the slogan was help a kid eat a bug. And we just asked people to come and donate money. We paid for everything. And so that tradition continued for would have been 17 years last year, and we'd raised over $115,000. Unfortunately, we had to cancel it because of the pandemic last year. There's a chance the HOA where we hold the event might let us do it again this year on a smaller scale, unfortunately. But anyway, so I'm passionate about Plano. I love my community. I love to give back whenever I can. I used to, we also invested in a restaurant in downtown Plano. You may have heard of it, Angela's at the Crosswalk. And we owned that for about 6 years. Didn't intend to be the owner operators, but that's how it turned out. So I got to roll up my sleeves and learn how to run a restaurant. It was actually a great opportunity. I was right downtown by City Hall, so I got to know a lot of the city staff and the council members that would frequent the restaurant. But it also gave me a real empathy for small businesses, especially going through a pandemic right now. Thank goodness we sold before the pandemic. So I'm very pro-business. I want to do what we can to help small businesses be successful, especially during these difficult times. And then I'm also really passionate about the Collin Creek Mall redevelopment. Like I said, I moved here in 1981. That's the same year that the mall opened. And so here we are 40 years later going through this redevelopment. And I want to make sure I'm able to advocate and kind of be an ambassador for them back to the city, because everybody wants to know what's happening with that. And I know that this redevelopment is going to be really important to the downtown merchants to revitalize the downtown area. So you can look me up, Julie, for Plano. I guess one other thing that I think is a strength that I have is if you look at my list of endorsements, I have Republicans, I have Democrats, and I've got independents on there. So I think I'm a pretty good bipartisan representation, even though, you know, I am a Democrat. I do believe the municipal elections should be nonpartisan, and I think that my supporters kind of represent that. So anyway, Julie Holmer for Plano City Council, Place 7. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. All right, and in Junior, I saw you pop in for Tarrant County. Grand Prairie will have Junior, then Nasat, and then Casey.
Well, thank you guys so much for allowing me to join y'all and just be able to speak. My name is Junior Izanu. I'm running for Grand Prairie City Council, the Place 8 at-large seat. So the entire city of Grand Prairie will be voting for that election. I currently attend UT Arlington. I'll be graduating in May. And I currently serve as a substitute teacher and a tutor throughout the entire DFW area. Excuse me. So one of the main reasons why I decided to run just stemmed from my belief that every community deserves to be represented in city council. Everybody deserves a seat at the table. Primarily, that's it. And I believe in public service. I believe in public policy. For example, looking at me, I was born in Nigeria. I moved to the States when I was 2 years old. Had it not been for good public schools, public social welfare programs such as food stamps, and free lunch at school, I don't know where I'd be. So I believe the best way to give back to your community that put you in the position that you're in is to pay it forward. That's what I plan to do once elected. So thank you guys for allowing me to speak, and I'm ready to serve.
I love that. Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear that message. And yes, my old stomping grounds were Grand Prairie. I actually grew up right across the street from South Grand Prairie High. So I am so glad to see you here, and thank you for running. All right, Nasat, are you there?
Yes. Hello. How are you guys doing today? My name is Nasat Parveen. I'm running for Plano City Council Place 4. And you know what a wonderful month it is. It's actually Women's International Month. And so to be here in front of wonderful, honorable women like you and other former candidates and candidates that are running right now is just so exciting. So a little bit about me. My family and I, we originally migrated from Bangladesh at age 4 into Plano. I grew up going to all of the Plano senior high schools, played in our Plano parks, read in our Plano libraries. And just like Junior said, like just to have that education in such a nice environment is a huge privilege. And then on top of that, growing up with that diverse environment really shaped the way I view this world and helped me obtain different skills. My family actually helped me with my linguistic skills because at age 9, I became fluent in 7 different languages. And then along with that, you know, I have that immigrant experience. So I actually mentored my own parents into passing the US citizenship test. And I went on to go mentor other people. And then throughout like my high school life, close to junior, senior, I started working part-time as a substitute teacher and avid tutor to help pay for college. And, you know, I really had a passion for mentoring our youth and stuff. And a lot of our youth, you know, they would tell me like, I want to get involved in community service. But back then I wasn't really involved as many organizations. I didn't know how to do it. So what we ended up doing is I created like my own little community service youth groups. And so we would organize like Plano cleanup pond days, pick up the trash days, and then we would collect non-perishable items because I think it's so important we get involved in service early on. And then a tragedy happened in 2014 where I dealt with a sad loss of suicide of a very close loved one of mine. And so from there, I started working with the AFSP as a volunteer and as a field advocate, where I actually would write letters to our state representatives and our congressmen, including Van Taylor and Jeff Leach, to pass bills related to suicide prevention and mental health. And just last year, I actually helped pass the Suicide Crisis Hotline Act, which now makes it suicide number by 2022 988, so people can get help. And then along with like helping out with nonprofits, I actually started volunteering for local campaigns since age 16. Local Democrat candidates like Sharon Hirsch, she was my very first yard sign. She definitely moved the needle a lot, especially for women, because even back then when I was knocking on doors, I noticed that there was a little bit misogyny going on. But like, you know, ever since her, like, she kind of just inspired like other women to run. She was very close with the youth. And then I started volunteering with other candidates like Lori and Lisa Kolodny, who's also an advocate for suicide prevention, and Anne. And so each one of these women kind of like helped open a pathway for a girl like me who's a triple minority to also run. And then in 2018, due to my community service work, the Miss United States organization actually crowned me as Miss Plano. So I got to actually expand my platform of suicide prevention even further. I created my Project Purpose community advocacy program. So what I did with this program is that we met with volunteers and at-risk youth and those that struggled with mental health issues and suicide ideation. We helped them find actionable steps to take so that way they can find a pathway to help them heal. And then I was just like really passionate about serving our underserved communities. So I also volunteered with organizations like the Mission Continues, the Boys and Girls Club. And I just feel like while I was doing all of these things, there's still a huge voiceless community in Plano that we are not really advocating for. 20% of our population is working class, and our homeless crisis has actually gone off the roof recently. And I just feel like, you know, there's so much that we could do for them. Because, you know, when I first came to Plano, though my family was working class and we moved our way to middle class, we didn't have that issue of buying a house. And so that's also a reason that I really want to get into this. And being so young, already like, you know, in my 20s, I feel like the youth voice is missing. And so I want to bring the youth perspective, because our youth are the ones who can get things done. They can make change happen. They're so energized and they're so passionate. And then also that immigrant experience and that minority experience, you know, all this hatred and all this bigotry that's been going on. We need leaders who not only will advocate for those things, but will also understand those things. And I'm also excited to be collaborating with so many other wonderful candidates. So if you guys are interested in volunteering for my campaign, then go to nasatforplano.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Nasat. All right, Casey.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to join you tonight. And it's an honor to serve you currently as the Mayor Pro Tem of Plano and in City Council Place 4. And I'm running for re-election to my seat because I want to just get things done for your family and mine. And one of the very first emails that I got from a citizen in Plano when I got reelected was from a woman that works for Minnie's Food Pantry. She's a volunteer there. And she reached out because she was concerned that the DART station located closest to Minnie's Food Pantry didn't have a shelter over it. And when people would come to Minnie's Food Pantry to get their food, they would often go walk back over there. And then if there was bad weather, if it was raining, they would sit there waiting for the DART in the pouring rain, and their groceries that they had just gotten would get soaking wet. And so she reached out to me asking if I could do anything about this. And this was my very first opportunity on City Council to actually tangibly get to help someone. I was able to set meetings with DART and with our city management. And I actually drove past this off of Parker every day from work to home. And so I could see the day that it went up. And I was so excited. I called my husband. I said, it went up. And I was excited that I saw that it actually made a difference. And that was just reinforcement and reminder of why I'm serving and why I do this. And it's really to make a tangible difference in people's lives. And that's what's great about local government. You get to be so close to the people. You get to hear from them daily. You get to see their needs, and you get to make an impact in their lives. And so I want to keep doing that. I want to get to serve the people of Plano and simply just help make their lives better. So I ask for your support to keep serving the people of Plano. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. And it looks like I don't see Justin and, well, I guess the Justins and Maya, but if they pop on later, I'll make sure they put their info in the chat. And I, again, just want to say thank you to every single one of you candidates that are running. Again, this is not an easy role, and we truly appreciate everything that you all are doing. And members, please, in whatever way that you can help, again, whether it's 5 minutes, 5 hours, please help in some way to these amazing candidates. We are so excited to see so many of you. And we're just going to jump right into a bit of the business meeting, but then we're actually going to get into lobbying and advocating, because like so many of these candidates have mentioned, right now is a really, really, really important time for a lot of these communities. And a lot of them have not had diverse candidates and have in fact fought quite hard against diverse candidates. So it's really important that we know how to lobby, how to advocate, and really how to become involved and stand up for our communities. So yes, my name is Sarah Mitchell. I am extremely excited to see you all. Welcome. And I'll get to introduce a few of my board members here in a moment, but I truly, again, just wanted to say welcome. Thank you to all these amazing candidates. Thank you to all the members who are able to be here. If you do know someone who wasn't able to be here, but you have their information, please feel free to put it in the chat. We are going to send it out. We're going to upload this video to YouTube, and that way we can actually share this information to a wider base. And I also want to reiterate my message from earlier, and that we absolutely abhor the very concerning things that have been happening. Number one, the massacre of Asian women, and number two, the death that recently occurred here in Collin County. I am in Collin County, even though obviously we cover all of North Texas. And it's just, none of it is acceptable. So it's really important that we actually all stand together as a unified community and say we are anti-racist, we are anti-sexist, and we stand against discrimination. So please make sure that we support.
Can we not forget Sumerian on that list? I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we not forget, Sumerian Humphrey? I know that several of us have talked and heard from other Plano ISD parents, and things I've heard from several parents is that they feel like they have no voice, particularly moms of color. And I just want to make sure that situation stays on your list too. Thanks. Sorry for interrupting.
No, thank you. That is so important. And yeah, no, that is extremely important because bullying obviously leads to hate, and that is an extreme problem. And yes, no, we do. That's actually part of advocating and lobbying. Is several of us have been working kind of behind the scenes, making sure that voices are heard and issues are raised. The good news is that there will be some information that is coming out regarding getting some of those voices heard. I can't say much, but I will say that there is information that will be being emailed out. But yes, no, that is a very important interrupt. Thank you. All right. And without further ado, we will get to the minutes and get those approved as long as there are no concerns, obviously. And then I'll just bring up the agenda. So our minutes. Are you able to see that, share? Yes, no. Can y'all see the minutes? Okay, you can tell me if you can't. I can reshare.
Looks like it's loading.
Okay, cool. All right, good. As long as it's yeah, this is a safe space. All right. Here we go. If you all can just look at that real quick. Basically, what happened in January is we had the video thanking Debbie for her amazing 2 years of service. We had the nominating committee nominate the board. The membership approved the board. There was our treasurer's report by the awesome Catherine Casavant. We had some really good information from our committees. And if you haven't already, please hook up with our committees. They'll each be giving a very brief, like 2 to 3 minute introduction of kind of what's going on and how you can get involved. And then we'll move into our lobbying and advocating. And then we had some fun, had some adult beverages, and we adjourned. But did anyone see any issues with the agenda, or may I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Thank you, Mary. May I get a second?
I second.
Thank you, Trish and Courtney. Awesome. All right. And then now I will pull up the agenda for today. I know this part isn't sexy, you guys, but it's actually really nice everyone's on the same page. All right. So of course, the agenda for tonight began with our amazing candidates. And we will be going into the treasurer's report, the candidates reports, and then we're going to be getting into our program, which is intro into the world of lobbying and advocating for a cause. I am really excited about sharing this with y'all because this is very much how I got into local community advocacy through Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. So this is very near and dear to my heart. And I think y'all are gonna have a good time. But yes, does this agenda look okay? Does anything need to be corrected? All right, may I get a motion to approve? Thank you, Mary. May I get a second?
A second.
I'll second.
Awesome. I think that was Trish and Catherine. Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, cool. And now we get back to the presentation. All right, Catherine, are you still there? Catherine Casamont. Sorry, I guess I should be more specific on which Catherine I'm speaking with.
I am here.
Awesome. All right, let me put you back on speaker. Okay.
Okay, I will make this quick. So for our treasurer's report, I usually bridge 2 months worth since we meet every other month. So you can see we're currently at a little over 21,000, which is good. We're fiscally sound. There's not a lot of activity. We had some revenue generated from membership dues. Yay. If you haven't paid your dues, make sure to pay your dues.
Please do.
We have a few people who've actually donated money. We made a little bit of money off of the inaugural party, especially with those I'm speaking glasses, which are still available for sale if anybody wants them. And we had an in-kind donation of political signs from Dim Signs. Thank you very much. So we did not have a lot of expenses. The big thing coming up for the Treasury is we have a brand new board, and we're coming up at the end of our fiscal year, which is the end of March. And so we will be doing a brand new budget for the next year, and we will have that out hopefully this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine. All right. And we'll go through very briefly on the committee reports. You heard from Laura earlier. Laura is one of our amazing candidate co-chairs. Rashida was not able to be here tonight. She got surprised with a trip to Seattle. So we wish her very safe travels. But yes, Laura, the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks everybody who came for our mixer. It was a huge success. It was a lot more people than we even expected. Mainly, WOW is participating in the party's endorsements subcommittee, but just to let you know, we are helping interview and providing our feedback and just including us in the process, but we do not endorse in the nonpartisan elections. And secondly, go ahead and go to the next slide, Sarah, I want to share with all our members all these dates. Very, very important. We're going to share this separately on social media on our public page, hopefully. So everybody, please share this with your friends, because I'm guessing we have a pretty knowledgeable group here. If you're here, you maybe already knew all this, but your friends probably don't. And those candidates who weren't here when I said this earlier, if you end up in a runoff election, please let WOW Dems know, and we will really work our butts off to try to increase turnout for these runoffs. Because people just aren't aware of them. There's just no information about runoffs out there hardly. So please, please, please let us know. Again, it doesn't constitute an endorsement, but we want people to show up and vote. Does anyone, do you have any questions about this or any comments? No. Okay, great. Now we had some candidates who did not make the mixer. We missed Maya. Are you here? Are either of the Justins here? I can't see all the names. I apologize. Okay. Again, I'd like, we are kind of behind, so I'd like, what would you like to do, Sarah, with the candidates right now?
Yes, so I mentioned that this is recorded, so don't worry if you don't think that someone got to see you speak. You will be up on YouTube, and we will make sure, as I mentioned earlier, that we share the information that you have put in the chat out to our membership. So if you have not put in the chat your name, what you're running for, and where people can donate and volunteer to you, please do so. Put that in the chat, and we'll make sure we amplify your message.
Yes, we'll be consolidating that in one piece of information. In fact, maybe we should send it out along with these dates and remind people early and often about the dates and the registration deadline. So, and we'll get your message out as well. That was all I really had. Does anybody have any questions? All right. Oh, shop and buy little glasses. They're so cute.
I know, they're so cool. And yeah, if y'all do have questions, please reach out to candidates@wowdems.org. It's, you know, like she said, like we cover so many counties here in North Texas. It's really difficult to endorse at a municipal level because you've got ISDs, you've got city councils, you've got, you know, county board of trustees, et cetera, et cetera. But we do want to make sure that we get the voices amplified, we get it shared, and we really make sure our membership knows to bring in the votes. So yes, thank you so much. All right. And Courtney, is this your slide?
Debbie? I think she may be presenting that one.
Okay. All right, but yeah, this is of course very important and timely. You can see the topic is understanding and preventing anti-Asian racism.
Yes, this is going to be our next event. Actually, we just booked this speaker, I think today. So yeah, we're really excited about this. Obviously a really important topic, something that Sarah has talked a lot about this evening. So we are definitely, happy to feature this speaker coming up in the next month or so. So yeah, definitely take a chance to look her up and be looking for more information about that event coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, Courtney. And Courtney Hitt and Debbie O'Reilly are our events and outreach committee. And if you have a question or someone that you would like to see highlighted, please email them can you say the email address? Because I think I messed it up last time.
Yes, it's eventsoutreach@wowdems.org. So you leave out the and.
I think that's what I did wrong last time. So thank you.
So yeah, if you have any ideas, you have an idea for a speaker, maybe you're at another event and you are just absolutely captivated by somebody you hear speak, please let us know. Those are the kinds of opportunities we want to present to our members.
Awesome. Thank you. And then, oh, 1 second, I have a visitor.
Maybe the slides got mixed up, who knows?
Yeah,
But
and then Sheena and Ramona.
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. So we will make this very quick as well. I want to give a quick shout out to and if you're out there, can you wave to everyone and say hi? I can't see everyone's faces, so. All right, well, our newest co-chair is Ramona Gray, and her bio will be out on the website shortly, as well as in the newsletter. For the legislative committee, we will be having a meeting next week, actually a week from today at 6:30. So if you'd love to hear more information or updates about our 5 areas of focus, please come and join us at that meeting. I will drop the Zoom link in the chat. And that is our update.
Awesome. Thank you. No, like she said, it's so important right now. And yes, welcome, Ramona. We are super excited to have you on the board. We'll talk a little bit about legislative action here soon as we get into lobbying and advocacy, but the Texas legislator only meets every 2 years, and this is the time. So please get involved. All right, Cynthia and the other Catherine Goodwin.
Oh, needed to unmute me. Here I am. Unfortunately, Cynthia can't join us today. She had surgery yesterday, so she's recovering. And here is a picture of our I'm speaking, damn it, glasses. That we still have. As a matter of fact, they're at Cynthia's for porch pickup. We'd be thrilled for you to have one. And we do still have a number of t-shirts still left and masks that we're giving away. I will tell you going forward, we are looking into right now a tote bag to go along with hopefully maybe a membership drive. And additionally, something that really fascinates us is we're going to copy those liberal women of Collin County and get us a WOW magnetic tag, because we need to be able to flip our WOW friends too, right?
I do love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, hey, good idea. We're just going to copy you on that. So I will tell you, we have, because of what conditions are in terms of getting ourselves out and together with everybody, you know, we were just talking about how literally the last time a lot of us Dem friends got together was at our Dem candidates casino party back in February last year. So that's kind of the last time some of us actually got to see each other physically. So we're excited about that. Fortunately, if we have an event, it will probably be more likely end of summer and June. In the meantime, what we are doing is the light bulb went off for Cynthia and I, and we realized what we really needed to do was go ahead and get sponsorships not related to an event, but to the value that WOW Dems has for our community. Again, our mission of empowering and informing and getting women Democrats and Democratic allies elected is what we're here for. And so along with that, we are going to go ahead and present to our community abilities to sponsor at varying levels, starting from $500, which would be enough to fund a candidate Saturday block walk. For you candidates out there, you know that, $500 to get those push cards and water bottles, and moving up the levels to being able to sponsor social media advertising, say at $1,000 for candidates, going all the way up to $10,000. And that I can tell you from personal experience, that's about 20,000 half-page push cards to go out into our community for candidates. So we want to attach meaning to what those funds are, and that it's not funds that we use here at WOW to do operational things at all. If you can see from Catherine's budget, we tried to be very cheap with ourselves in terms of operations and really put all that money out the door for our candidates. And lastly, something that we are considering is running a Democratic Women directory, business directory as sponsors of WowDem, featuring your business. So that's also up for consideration. If you have any questions about this or would like to help us out, put some more flesh to these sponsorships, give Cynthia and I a shout out at fundraising@wowdems.org.
Yeah, and I, again, just want to reiterate how creative that Catherine and Cynthia have been in the last year. Everyone has really had to pivot into this new world of being physically distant but socially connected. So they've come up with some very creative ways of actually staying together as a community. So yes, thank you so much. All right, and then Mary Tipper, and welcoming our new co-chair, Sadia Ahmed.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, that is first and foremost, I wanted to welcome Sadia as my new committee co-chair. Sadia has an extensive background in marketing and communications, as well as with nonprofits. So I'm very excited to have her on board and helping us with communications. I need to apologize in advance because, of course, my dog, as always, never fails when I'm in a meeting and I am presenting. She starts wanting attention. So if you hear any whimpering in the background, that's just her wanting to go outside. Also, just kind of to follow up on Catherine's fundraising, I've been trying to raise this up. It's not coming through very well with my background, but I do have one of the very cute I am speaking glasses. They are wonderful. I'm not drinking anything exciting out of it, just water tonight. And I do also have one of my WowDem t-shirts. They're very comfy. Anyway, moving on to actual communication stuff. This, of course, the month of March is Women's History Month, as well as we had International Women's Day about a week or so ago. So we have been celebrating that. We have occasionally been posting on our social media, ways to celebrate. Our president, Sarah, wrote a really great blog article for Women's History Month. And we will very shortly be hearing from Events and Outreach about an event we have coming up to tie into Women's History Month. And then moving on from that, sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. Oops, sorry. The Communications Committee, we are continuing to grow. We have more new volunteers that have joined us, which I'm really excited about. We have a couple of our volunteers, Kim Koenig and Talon, are helping us with our Twitter and Instagram and have been doing an amazing job with both. We are looking to grow our presence on both social media platforms. In particular Instagram, because that is where a lot of the young people, what they like to use for their social media, and we would like to have more outreach to young women to get them, involved and activated in politics at an early age. We also have now some liaisons between communications and the Ledge Committee. So We are getting some more legislative content out on our social media platforms in addition to our regular normal stuff. Carolyn Evans has helped a lot with that. She's been posting some of that legislative content. We are looking for a place on our website to house legislative content. She's tracking bills, posting calls to action, as well as just kind of monitoring news in general and posting stuff as it comes up. So she's been a big help there. We also have had more people who have been submitting content for our blog, which has been great. So we've been more active there. And there was one other thing I was going to mention that wasn't on the slide, and it has totally slipped my mind. So I'm going to wrap it up and pass it on to our next committee.
No, I love that because communications is so key, especially with legislative. There are so very many bad bills in Texas right now. And when Mary puts out our call to action, it's really important, whether it's like a phone call, an email, or sharing it on social media to make sure that someone else can call an email or all of the above is vital. So thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Did remember the other sorry, Sarah, I did remember the other thing I was going to say. I know that Sheena had mentioned that Ramona's bio would be up there on the website shortly. We actually do have our officer page and our committee page of both our so it does include both Ramona and Sadia's bios and pictures.
Awesome.
If any of you
Thank
want to go
you.
out there and take a look.
All right.
Now I'm done.
No, thank you, Mary.
Sure.
All right. I know Caroline wasn't able to be here today. She is also Madam President of Plano Area Dems. But we do have the illustrious Trish with us.
I don't know about illustrious, but thank you so much. It's gonna be really quick here, and I have to apologize because Carolyn and I got our wires crossed, and the other one was reaching out to some people who wanted to be on our committee. So if you're on here tonight, we will call you tomorrow, promise. But basically just want to let you guys know that right now we are sitting at 158 members at this moment. 80 of them are new members. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a plan together to start reaching out to some of the 2020 members who have not re-engaged with us. So we're going to reach out and see what we can do, or, to get them back connected with us. So that's pretty much all we have.
I love that. No, especially right now, because we've had to be socially distant, some people don't even know that we exist in Denton and Dallas and Tarrant and Collin County. So if you know someone who shares our values, please make sure to invite them so they know that they're not alone and they know that they have a group with them. And Courtney and Debbie, back to y'all.
Yes, thank you. So I am happy to talk about this awesome movie that Mary told us about. So yeah, we're happy to present these next 2 Fridays, and She Could Be Next. So this 2-night special feature is about a dynamic slate of female history makers, as well as some hidden figures of the movement of women of color, particularly. And so we'll do a showing of this this Friday and next. And I'm going to go ahead and just play the trailer for you because that really, explains the movie best. So if we could just go ahead and click play, Sarah.
Awesome. Let me make sure I am sharing my sound. Okay.
In the history of this country, any guesses out of 11,000 people that have served in the United States Congress, how many women of color have served?
There is this assumption that Black people don't vote, that Latinos are not American citizens, that Asian Americans are Republicans, and that young people are wholly unreliable.
I want you to understand that who I am is a product of a movement.
There are not enough people on the inside that look like me.
People aspiring to be leaders in this country, they need to go through Women of Color because we're making our voices known.
When I say I'm a social justice seeker, I'm a mama for justice, or all these things, that's where I'm saying I'm American. I don't need to say it. I act like an American.
Candidates do not normally talk to people in the Asian American community because historically speaking, we are the community that turns out to vote at the lowest rates. So we want to change that here today.
Cái cô kia cô không có ở nhà, bác gái có muốn đi bầu hôn với con dẫn đi bây giờ luôn.
We're no longer asking for permission to do what we need to do. We're going to do it, and we're going to lead from the top, and people need to see it.
The sort of traditional notions of what's possible in American politics are being challenged every day.
Elections are important, but our lives are on the line. Elections
Sisters and brothers, it's about building. Sorry, y'all. Excuse me. All right, sorry, it looks like my
Power in our community to win what is right.
Except the communities that need to be brought in reflect the new American majority. They're young, they're brown, they might speak another language.
And there's a lot of us. I'm excited about the fact that women of color are now coming into our own, that we're standing up and taking our rightful place in the pantheon of leadership, that we're changing what the face of leadership looks like.
It is a new day, there's a new coalition, and ultimately we're going to push this country forward because there's more of us than those that seek to do us harm.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, so we're really happy and excited to present that this Friday and next. So we're not just going to play, we will also be joined by Nancy Wallace, Scott from PAC, and then on the next night we'll also have Delia Parker Mims, who is running from Louisville. Discussions and talks are about the film. So just in the interest of time, if we can go ahead and type them in the chat, that would be awesome. And then I'm going to throw it to Debbie because she's going to talk a little bit more about the previous event because that slide was kind of mixed up. And then I'm sure she'll be happy to talk about our service project as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Courtney. And I just want to say, Sarah, you're doing a phenomenal job on your first full meeting as president
Thank
of
you.
Wow Dems, top to bottom. You're doing fantastic. Well done. I'm so proud. I did also want to say I put in the chat a link to mobilize so that you can register to attend the screening tomorrow. So please look for that. I put it in on the slide, but it has to be refreshed for you to see it. But so I just threw it in the chat. So please join us. You know, it's funny how life turns out. So I've been talking a lot about the project that we're starting in Collin County called AMP, Activist Mobile Project. And one really cool thing about this is that I was just trying to reach out to neighbors in my community. A woman half a block away knocked on her door, trying to see if she'd like to volunteer for Democrats. Her name is Nancy Wallace, and she told me that she's very involved in Black Women's PAC. And they work very hard to get women of color elected to office. And I'm like, bingo, like this is what this is meant to be. We've got a group for you. So through that contact, Nancy and I were able to connect with the leader of the organization, Tracy Scott. And here it is, 2 weeks later, they are our service project for tonight. And they will be speaking at our screening tomorrow. That's how it was just meant to be. So anyway, I will put the link in the chat. This is a great organization, very similar to our goals. Please, our service project is meant towards, giving donations to a group that will use them wisely. And I think you'll all agree this group will. So I will put the link in the chat for you to donate to Black Women's PAC. And you will see us partnering with this organization quite a bit in the future, I'm assuming. Okay, the next slide is, there you go. The next slide was out of order earlier, so I apologize for that. I don't know, who knows how these things happen. It was in order at 3 o'clock, but anyway. So the next general member meeting, as Courtney was saying earlier, we're always looking for good speakers. That's one of the hallmarks of WOW Dems, is we're always at the forefront of fantastic speakers on current issues. Our next speakers at our next meeting will be Nancy Tien, and she's a policy fellow, education consultant, organizer, and educator. And she will speak to us about understanding and preventing anti-Asian racism. And I think we should put a link to this slide presentation in the chat and make it accessible to everybody. You can view her LinkedIn profile. You'll see her qualifications. We're considering adding a panel to Nancy to expand on perspectives about this very important issue that Sarah expanded on at the top of the meeting. So we'll have a mobilized link ready to go, and you'll see this event on Facebook within a matter of a couple of weeks. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, no, who knows? It really did seem like it was updated at 3, but life is what happens when you make other plans. All right, and then now we're also going to get into the meat of kind of what we've kind of dabbled in for the entire session here, which is really how to lobby and how to advocate for the cause. Not only for candidates, but for people that might eventually want to be candidates, or just for people who see these candidates and say, how do I interact with them? How do I interact with people in Austin? I feel intimidated when I want to email them or call these people. So we're going to get a little bit into that. Courtney, kick us off.
Yes. And hopefully, let's see if I have if you can just go ahead and click that first bullet point, it'll take you to my first presentation.
You are just together. I love you.
Perfect. There we go. Which is kind of displaying kind of funky. The fonts are kind of, okay. There we go. There we go. Now it looks all pretty the way it's supposed to. Okay, awesome. So yeah, like Sarah was saying, so this is kind of where you can kind of take this two ways. This is kind of, you can, get your feet wet and kind of, be casual about it, or you can, dive right in and kind of take this seriously. Maybe you have a passion. Maybe you're really fired up and angry about something and you don't know where to direct it. Okay. If you want to do it effectively and you really want to affect change, this is how you do it, by meeting with your legislators. So here is a quick rundown top 10 list of things that you should know when meeting with them. So buckle up. All right, next slide. All right, so very important, establish who you are. And by that, number one, I mean by saying that you are their constituent. Whether in an email, whether you're meeting with them in person, a group of people, it doesn't matter. Always establish first that you're their constituent. I've even heard that they will put you on a separate list if you don't mention that you're a constituent, because they, they're not going to listen to you the same way. They don't value your opinion the same way because you're not voting for them. So lead with, I'm a constituent. Who you are, a little bit about yourself. I'm a concerned parent, teacher, and who you're there with, whether you're there by yourself or a different organization. Okay, next slide. All right, and arriving prepared. I know that seems like a no-brainer, but of course, that means planning for the meeting, looking up the person ahead of time, doing some due diligence, doing your research ahead of time. I have a background in arts advocacy, so I always try to find a tie-in to the arts. That is not always very easy to do. So if you're going in there advocating for a specific cause or reason, try to find that tie-in with whoever you're meeting with. Be on time, of course, a no-brainer. But if you're actually meeting at the Capitol in Austin, it is quite precarious to get around from office to office. Yes, it's very crazy. So yeah, being on time, very important, of course, even though the legislators oftentimes are very late to their meetings. Know what you'll be asking for. It's great that you show up. It's great that you're passionate. It's great that you have an impressive resume, but you need to be asking for something. And also, again, learn about who you're meeting with. Look them up. Find out stuff about them. So during conversation, it looks like you care about them. You're not just there to ask for something. Okay, next slide. Yes. Share your story. It is super important to find some way to connect to them, but also on a heart-to-heart level. Okay, that is super important, right? Yeah, you are going to be very businesslike, right? Because you do have things that you're going to be asking for during the meeting, but there does need to have there needs to be a moment in there where you kind of maybe lower your voice and maybe you take off your glasses, whatever it is, something that you can do to connect with them. It's really important. And if you're with a group of people, maybe you dedicate one person to just sharing that story, and that's their job. Okay, next slide. So don't be a lone ranger. Now, it's not that one person can't affect change. It's just that there's strength in numbers. And let me tell you, right, it's intimidating. And I couldn't imagine going into any of these meetings like by myself. So don't expect that one person in any organization can do everything. And also to that point, I've also gone to meetings where there's like 6 or 7 of us there, and that's also precarious as well. So, definitely take into account who you want to be on your team, who's going to, be the most effective, and what roles everybody is going to play. And I did put some examples of what some of those might be, like a manager, someone to introduce, and somebody to tell a story. Okay, next slide. Okay, staff members matter. I used to hear this. I used to roll my eyes at it. I didn't quite get it. And by that, I mean, oftentimes you'll schedule an appointment to meet with a legislator and you will not meet with them. It seems like, yeah, it's a huge letdown when it happens. Oftentimes it's actually better. There are a lot of times I have connected with a staff member in ways that I never would have with a legislator. You get their attention a lot. It seems a lot more. And you'll just be amazed to see what you find out about sometimes the legislator from the staff member. That's always interesting. But again, the staff members oftentimes, because they're new in their career, sometimes they're young too, they're more hungry and they're more attentive. So that's always a plus. Okay, next slide. So be specific and have data. Having a firm grasp on what you're talking about is super important, but also be ready with facts, figures, and numbers. It's awesome if you have a super, great story that really tugs at the heartstrings, but how great is that if you can pair that with some really cool, great facts, figures, number, and data. Show up with numbers to back up everything. And it's also great to have a 1-pager. You don't need anything more than that, and anything more than that, they're just going to tune out, and it's too much information. So try to compile everything on a 1-page document that you can bring with you to the meeting, and you can also email them afterwards as a follow-up. Have and ask. Of course, I said this before, but you need to be asking for something specific, not just like, hey, I really want you to support the arts. Like, yes, that's important, but having a specific ask. I'll give you some of mine that I've asked for in the past, to restore funds for the Cultural Arts District, to protect the funds for the hotel motel occupancy taxes. Of course, this is all for arts advocacy stuff. But having a specific ask that you have, going into your meeting, that is critically important. 2 to 3 is good. And it is absolutely appropriate to ask, do I have your commitment on this issue? That is absolutely appropriate to ask them point blank if I have your commitment on this particular issue. And so definitely do that before you leave the meeting. Next slide. So this kind of should go without saying, but show thanks, be kind, don't overstay your welcome. be conscientious of their time, right? And, you'd really be surprised how far a handwritten note goes. I hear this, and I hear this all the time, that anytime anybody writes a handwritten thank you note, it doesn't matter how many years ago, if they go by this person's desk or office, they will always see it there, because that's how few handwritten notes that people get. So that really, really does go a long way. Okay, and the follow-up. The follow-up is very important. This is going to be where you recap everything you talked about in the meeting, right? Where, you send your one page again, just a recap. And also, of course, thank you for your time, and then directing them to any resources that maybe they asked you for during the meeting. Okay, next slide. That's it. Of course not. Well, you'll debrief and record what you've learned. That's really important. Take notes about what was said and what was done at the meeting, because remember, this is just the beginning of your relationship with this person. Okay, it doesn't start and stop when you're in that person's office, right? This is just the beginning of your relationship with this elected official. And of course, there are so many more than 10 things, but I like doing things in easy lists like this. So I thought this was convenient. So this is my top 10 list for things that you should know when meeting with a lawmaker or legislator. So I hope that you guys found that helpful, because we are going to go into talking about what really motivates you and how to champion a cause. So I'm going to drop in the chat. Actually, let me go ahead and copy these links for you guys. These are some worksheets to really kind of help you. Now, I don't think I was born without like a million different passions. So it's kind of funny, because I don't know if everybody needs a worksheet to help them, guide them in finding what they're passionate about or developing their story. But I'm going to go ahead and put these in the chat. Okay. And these are great because they're very helpful, and I'm hoping that some of the people who are running here too actually might still be around, because the one about public narrative is super helpful. And it's a step-by-step guide. I'm not going to sit here and go through it with you guys, because this is definitely an exercise that you're going to do on your own. But this is going to really help you in finding what you're passionate about, finding how to speak about it, okay, and finding your story. There are lots of organizations and different coalitions. You'd be surprised. No matter what you're passionate about, there is probably an organization out there that has a ton of people who advocate and lobby for that exact specific cause that you are passionate about. For me, it's Texans for the Arts, because I'm an arts advocate. We get to do Arts Advocacy Day. There are national arts advocacy things that I do with Americans for the Arts. So if there is a specific niche thing that you are passionate about, Google it. And I'm sure that you can find things at a local, state, and national level that appeal to you. And if not, who's to say that you can't be the one to start it? So these worksheets hopefully will just kind of assist you in kind of finding and developing all of that. Now we're going to pass it along to Sarah to talk a little bit about the difference between lobbying and advocacy.
Yes. So this question often comes up, honestly. And what it's really about is that advocacy is honestly what we do on a daily basis. We advocate in order to have, women be listened to. We advocate in order to have discrimination walls and systemic racism torn down. When you lobby, kind of like Courtney mentioned, like you are specifically saying, this bill, this policy, these are what we're against. So when I was with Moms Demand Action, we advocated for gun violence prevention, but we lobbied specifically to not have permitless carry, to not have guns forced in schools, and to have the Violence Against Women Act passed, because our local Texas elected officials voted no. So we were lobbying when we were specifically saying, this is what we need to see, and this is what we do not want to see, and here is why. And just like Courtney mentioned, it's really important to like come in with the voting record, come in with a copy of the bill. Even when Helen and Misty Hook, who is the leader of Liberal Women's Action Network, when we all came in to meet with Van Taylor, he actually tried to tell us that something was in the Violence Against Women Act that was not. Misty, however, was prepared. She slid across the copy of the bill and pointed to the part that actually was like, no, actually, that's not there at all. So it's awesome to be able to actually have that moment of empowerment and say, oh, actually, you're just a human being, and I know what I'm talking about and how I can connect with you. So yes, advocating is for a passion, it is for a purpose. Lobbying is for a very specific policy. Oh, you're muted.
Issues with my button. Thank you so much. Yeah, so there are definite differences in between advocacy and lobbying, but you definitely require a certain person and somebody who is passionate, somebody who is well-spoken, and somebody who has very good leadership skills. And like Sarah said, you would be amazed to see how little sometimes people really actually know about some of these bills that they're voting on, some of the legislation, and even maybe some of the work that they're supposed to be doing. So, you know, I know it sounds really intimidating to meet with these people, but, you know, maybe you should feel a little bit better knowing that they don't always know exactly what they're doing all the time either. So, to that point, I'm going to kind of round things out with teaching you actually how to set up an appointment with a legislator. So if you could click that little bullet, perfect. So this is probably the quickest part of the presentation. I know it seems really complicated, but it's really not. So step one, you've got to figure out, and the formatting is kind of messed up on here, but it's okay. Okay, step one, now it adjusted. You're gonna have to figure out who represents you. You don't know who represents you already. So if you don't know this information yet, here you go. You can go to this website, or you can literally Google who represents me, whatever state that you live in. It's really that simple. So go find out who represents you so that you can move on to the next step. So next slide. Okay, so before you contact their offices, you are going to want to prepare a sample script or email. Of course, again, I cannot emphasize how important it is to tell them that you are their constituent. Always, always, always. They want to know that you are a voting person in their area. Give them a brief overview of what you want to meet with them about, what you're going to be discussing, maybe give them some bullet points. And even there are templates online that literally tell you, or give you a little template of what to say, emails to send to different legislators. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, so that will help you. Moving on to step 3, which is contacting their office, email, telephone, carrier pigeon. Probably better to have a paper trail. I know some people like picking up the phone, and that's great, but paper trail, we know we're dealing with politicians here. So yeah, email is great. So email them up, and the great thing about right now, okay, is that a lot of these, most of them are happening via Zoom. And the benefit here is that oftentimes the legislators are actually showing up to meetings. It's amazing. So I've had lots of meetings with Jeff's office. I've never ever gotten to meet in a meeting, a formal meeting with Jeff Leach until a few weeks ago. And he was very polite. He was 2 minutes late and apologized profusely. I was very surprised. So yeah, definitely now take the opportunity. And if it's something you've never done, I would imagine that there's probably a little bit like lessening of some anxiety doing it over Zoom. So now would be the time to do it for sure. Okay. So step 4.
Yeah, and that is actually true. Because one of the times that I met with Jeff Leach, it was in a different office than I had met with them before. So I was late and I felt so bad and so terrible because I was lost in their little office maze. And yeah, just call ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, be prepared. Even down to knowing which entrance at the Capitol is best to go in. For example, I think I even wrote this down for you guys somewhere, but yeah, it's good to know that which area is the best, because security is crazier in certain entrances than others. Have maps with you if you're going to be meeting in person to know where everyone is. Have your handouts printed out, have extras, all of those little things that don't seem like big deals or seem like no-brainers, like, maybe have a checklist so that day of, because even the most put together people get nervous, doing these things. I know I do. It's a different type of pressure when you're there at the Capitol, for sure.
Especially since, like you said, it's so large and it can be very intimidating to make your way through the halls. So you feel so small. So yeah, knowing that you've got the checklist that you can kind of guide you is really helpful.
Definitely. And then also, one thing that I did not do during my very first year of advocacy, which I did my second year of advocacy. I say second year, even though we're only in session every other 2 years. There's a cute little baby on the screen. But yes, practicing makes all the difference in the world. Just doing a run through with whoever your team is going to be makes all the difference in the world. Was super helpful for me, I know. And so yeah, just do a rundown, delegate tasks. Notice, right, that hey, I put this person in this position, and clearly they really should be in this. This is the time to figure all of those little details out. But you can't do that if you don't practice. So next step. And gather everything up you're going to have for everybody. Make sure everybody else on your team has everything else too, because what if somebody else falls out, right? Little things like that. Also, double checking and confirming with the office with appointment times and everything like that. They're so busy. You may upon your confirmation of your meeting find out, hey, he's actually running 12 minutes late. Well, hey, that may mean that you can actually get to eat. I know that sounds dramatic, but I mean, honestly, it's true. So just little things like that. Yes. Yeah. It's an exhausting day. If you're going to be up there doing advocacy stuff. I don't think, I don't like to consider myself a wimp. I don't think Sarah is, but that's probably one of the most exhausting experiences of my entire life. So yeah, definitely doing all of the things that you can do ahead of time to save yourself. You will be thanking yourself later that you did that.
Yeah, well,
So,
and
yeah,
it goes fast too. So it's not like, you can't eat. It's just oh my gosh, it's 3 p.m. and I haven't eaten lunch, and you just feel drained. So yeah, it goes by fast, and you're kind of running on adrenaline for some of it.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And step 7, arrive ready to slay dragons. Show up confident. Okay. Remember what you've learned today, but also remember they're people too. Okay. They're not perfect. They screw up all the time. They don't remember things. They're nervous. They sweat. all those things. Okay. Like, and again, the more prepared that you are, hopefully the less nervous that you'll be. And again, don't go in there alone. Hopefully at this point, you've already found your people. You've found your good team or group or organization of people that are other advocates, right? And you have them and you have your team to lean on in these meetings. Okay. So the more prepared, the more, confident you are, it's going to be better for everybody.
Absolutely.
So,
And that's actually another great point. Like advocating, like you can do that one person, but when it comes to lobbying, you truly are trying to build relationships. You're trying to build pressure to support your values. So that's actually another great point too. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's awesome too, having more people there. I mean, the most confident person in the world, right, can have a moment where like their throat's dry, they need some water, or they're nervous, and somebody needs to step in and kind of help. But I mean, really, truly, there are, the strength in numbers. So, when I roll up in there with, like 6 or 7 arts advocacy people, I mean, that really speaks, to, the support that the arts have. So yeah, definitely. So 7 steps. That's it. It's not super complicated to make an appointment with a legislator. And I promise you, it's not as scary as you think. And you will probably walk away feeling way more empowered than you ever thought. And you'll want to do it again, because you will see this is really how you begin to start affecting really great, awesome change.
Yes, no, this is so important.
That's what I have for you
so
guys.
Much. And actually, Laura, it looks like you have a question. What is your question that we can help with? Oop. I think I asked her to mute. All right, well, if you want to put it in the chat, you can. If I did something when I was trying to unmute you, I apologize. But yes, if you have a very brief moment where you're like, man, I was so nervous, and then man, here's where I am right now. I can tell you one of the people that I took to a lobbying meeting with me, at first, she was a little bit nervous, a little intimidating. And then as soon as it came out that the person we were visiting had been the co-sponsor of a terrible bill, it was a snap where it was like, you were the one that sponsored that. And she was on fire. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. Jason, it looks like you have a question. Let me ask you to unmute. What can we help you with? Ooh, that was right. I don't know what happened. A lot of background noise though from poor Jason. All right, sorry. If you can put your question in the chat, we will do our best to answer. Sorry about that, Jason.
I'm going to drop the whole gamut of all the links for my presentations and everything. And I'll probably send this out too when we send the presentation. So
Absolutely.
if anybody wants links to all of that. But yeah, again, this is, building a relationship with your legislators, even if you don't have intentions to advocate, is great. Finding a connection with them. It was really hard for me. So Angela Paxton is somebody that I had to meet with, and I spent a really, really, really long time trying to research any arts connection at all with her, and I couldn't find one. I was really lucky though that I got to meet with one of her staffers who said to me, she's a really big supporter of the arts. I don't know if you know this or not, but she's a singer. I had no idea. Zero. Cool. I would have never known that. Right. So I thought that was a little interesting tidbit of information that I had forgotten to mention when we had talked about meeting with staffers and how important that is, and how you shouldn't be bummed about that. But yeah, again, building a relationship with just your legislator's office, you can start by an email. You don't have to be making meetings and taking trips to Austin. You can start small. So
absolutely. And Susan, that's actually a great question, because unfortunately, whether, Denton or Dallas or Tarrant or Collin, a lot of our representatives are Republican. So, when you are going up to these people,
yes,
it is really important to just say like, hey, here's our shared values. Because one of the things too is, as a bereaved mom, I often go in and say, here's why women's reproductive rights, here's why infant and maternal mortality are so important. And I don't immediately, come out of the gate with, why are you passing all these terrible bills and you're going to get women killed? What I say is, hey, it's really important to have comprehensive sex education, access to birth control, access to healthcare, affordable daycare, and literally every single point they'll agree with. And then once we've established like a common thread and a common humanity, now we can actually talk about policy and come to kind of a middle ground on like, okay, here's why, and here's the evidence, and here's what I need you to do. So even if you can't let them, which a lot of times, again, as you mentioned, they won't, even if they can't meet you halfway, they at least are able to have that seed planted on why it's actually not, communism, the devil, whatever it might be. So it really is important to just connect as humans and then be able to kind of build back. Because when you start from the beginning, most people actually have more in common than it seems. And that was especially, when it comes to women's reproductive rights and gun violence, which is usually what I was lobbying for. That made a massive difference.
Yeah. And honestly, I haven't met with, I don't think hardly any Democrats. They've been all Republicans. But I think finding something to bond with them over that's non-political, right? Maybe you have a husky and they have a husky. It's completely non-political, but it's something that you can bond over. Okay. Maybe they have twins and you have twins. And then that's something you go into the meeting and that's just, oh, hey, yeah, I saw that, Jeff Leach's wife is an artist. And some of her work is similar to mine. So I had some of my artwork to show him when I, met with him. But yeah, it is hard. I will tell you, it is incredibly hard as a strong, prominent Democrat to sit in there with meetings with people that are hardcore conservatives who are proposing and voting on legislation that is not at all in line with what you agree with. It's very hard. It's very hard. But it's just you have to go in there knowing that you're representing all of these other people and all of these other causes.
Hey everyone, we are live.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
it was weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just stop that. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, completely lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
So,
but yeah, that's actually a really great point. On, even sometimes like people aren't monoliths, even when it comes to meeting with Democrats, not all of us agree on the exact same things. So we might disagree on certain points of policies. And one of the actual things that we would talk about with Moms Demand Action was, if we're all trying to get to grandma's house, because we were nonpartisan. If we're all trying to get to grandma's house, I might take 75 because I'm a Democrat. You might take 121 because you're Republican, but we're all trying to get to grandma's house. It's just a matter of like how we get there. Yes, there are some extremists right now. They're like, grandma can pull herself up by her bootstraps, screw her. But for most people, we do agree on at least those major things. It's just how it goes about that we might disagree with.
Yeah, definitely. But it, definitely presents some interesting challenges. But it just means that we have to work maybe just a little bit harder.
Exactly. All right. And does anyone have any questions on certain things like this? And I know we are coming to within about 5 minutes of our ending time. So before we actually kind of open it up for questions and open it up for kind of our mingle where you can kind of maybe ask some of the candidates that are around some questions, may I get a motion to officially adjourn?
So moved.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And actually, wait, who was that?
Me, Courtney.
Oh, thank you, Courtney. I apologize. I think because you were already on my screen, I couldn't tell who popped up. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've officially adjourned, I hope you have gotten some really good information on not only lobbying, advocating, but who your local candidates are, who you want to connect them with. Because yeah, we all know people within all kind of the 4 counties that we majorly cover. Get you, your family, your friends, your loved ones, people who share your values out to vote. It's so crucial. And then I see several candidates here. So if you have a question on lobbying, on advocating, or one of these candidates, please feel free. This is kind of our mingling time. So unmute, ask your questions. This is a safe space. And I'll stop recording in case you don't feel comfortable sharing like that.